Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show. Connor, what do we do here?
We talk about TV and stuff. Well, I'm doing your work for you.
I just wanted to see you panic, that's all. Yeah, talk about TV news. Stuff in development, pilots, orders, maybe some casting updates, renewals, cancellations, all that exciting stuff. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It depends on the week. But we also pick our favourite episode of TV of the week at the end and give any updates of what's coming up on the channel, TV-wise, so on and so forth. That is the plan. That is what we're going to do. So, without further ado, we will get cracking into this week's news. And starting out with the quick stuff, meaning renewals, cancellations, tends to be quite speedy. So, Atlanta has been renewed for Season 3 at FX.
Cool.
Obviously, a lot of people like that show. It's quite popular. It's done very well critically for FX, so it makes sense that it's getting renewed. There was a 2-year gap between seasons 1 and 2. I imagine you might get a similar thing with this one, just because Donald Glover is the busiest man on the planet.
He is a very busy man.
So you know,
I enjoyed the first episode, and it's something that I plan to just watch in bulk at some point.
Also renewed, 13 Reasons Why.
A little bit more controversial, this one.
Season 3, that's been renewed for. Is it still controversial? I mean, Season 1 was controversial.
Oh, this is more controversial.
Oh, is it? Why is it more controversial?
There have been calls over the last couple of weeks for Netflix to cancel it immediately and pull it off the service.
What did Season 2 do?
It had a...
Spoiler warning.
I don't know the specifics. Spoiler warning. Apparently there was a very uncomfortable rape scene.
Okay.
And also, apparently, it tried... Again, heavy spoiler warning, because this is for the end of the season
right,
now.
so heavy spoiler warning for Season 2 of 13 Reasons Why. You've been warned.
Yeah, apparently it tried to somewhat justify the mindset of a white kid who did a school shooting. And people were not happy with that at all. It was like, they tried to say, oh no, he did this because he was bullied. And yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't want to judge, I haven't seen the context.
Yes, no context here, but I can't deny that does not sound good just hearing it outright. I'm surprised to hear that. I feel like after the controversy of Season 1, which was the entire premise in a way is maybe not what people thinking about suicide need to be seeing, right? That was a very valid argument. They started putting warnings before the episodes for everyone.
That's still there. There's still warnings on every episode.
Naturally it should be, right? Given the context of the entire show, the concept of it. Hearing that it did all this stuff in Season 2, I'm like, really? That's where they chose to go? After the controversy of Season 1, they thought, no, let's go even deeper into the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Again... It's people are not happy about this at all.
They did announce that the actress who plays the girl who committed suicide is leaving the show, probably because she's been dead since the start of Season 1. They've ran out of tapes.
Yeah, I made a joke earlier in the week when I heard this that they're going to go for 13 seasons just because.
Oh yeah, that was a problem.
13 seasons, why?
They did one tape per episode, I think, in Season 1. That was their mistake. They should have done one tape per season to drag it out a little bit. Well, final season, they're all in their 30s.
You just have to recast every 3 or 4 years.
So they can stay in high school. So it's
yeah.
All right, okay, all right. Imagine trying to do a real time 24 style show, but they're all in high school for the entire show. Because you age so quick at that age. Yeah. Whereas you get away with it with Keith Sutherland and co because they're all adults, so you look the same age for a while. You get away with it for a long time.
You get away with a year, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, so 30 Reasons Why has been renewed. So, I mean, if nothing else, and this is the cynical part of me, is that the controversy is probably giving it a lot more headlines, and therefore that's what's making it so successful, which is why Netflix want to renew it. Not that I'm necessarily claiming that Netflix are intentionally saying, hey, push the boundaries.
No, but it's not hurting them, probably. At least not yet, because this thing we know, Netflix, it doesn't go on traditional ratings. A big part of what judges the success to them is how much people are talking about it on Twitter.
And if people are outraged, they're probably talking about it. Anyway, so also renewed at Netflix, 3% has been renewed for Season 3 as well. Much less controversial. Unfortunately, much less talked about because it's not English language speaking, therefore most of the planet just ignore it, which is a shame because it's a bloody good show. We just finished reviewing Season 2 this week. We've done all 10 episodes of Season 2. We did all of Season 1. Well, that wasn't even last year. It was late 2016, Season 1.
Yeah.
But we've reviewed the whole show. It's very good. If you like science fiction with good ideological debates, I recommend checking it out.
Yeah, it's great for what it is. Everyone who's into that sort of stuff should absolutely be watching it.
And the end of season 2 did set up a big new thing for season 3, so I'm very glad that it was renewed.
Yes.
So good news. Next up, cancellation from Freeform. Shadowhunters is dead.
I'm okay with this.
Of course we're okay with it. We don't give a shit about Shadowhunters. But we did review the pilot once upon a time, so it felt notable to say, hey, this is done.
Back when we willingly reviewed more shite.
Yeah. Hey, it's gone to the point where I couldn't even convince Connor to do the first episode of Cloak and Dagger this week. Which from all accounts is be getting well reviewed. People like that show.
But it was a double pilot today, as recording, where we barely fit in what we need to do today as it is.
Life finds a way, that's all I'm saying.
Oh.
Life finds a way.
Well, you had a power cut and we lost a few hours, which kind of didn't help the schedule.
Okay, sure. We didn't know that in advance, though. We didn't plan for a power cut.
We didn't, but we did plan to do other stuff that didn't get done.
This is true. But hey, still. Anyway, so Shadowhunters, it's actually halfway through its third season. They split their seasons in half, or at least this season they did. Interestingly, the second half of season 3, which is coming early 2019, is still 12 episodes, so I guess they were doing like 20 plus episode seasons of this on Freeform, which is bizarre. But what was funny is the first article I saw about it said, oh, and they've also commissioned, because they're ending it, a 2-hour TV movie finale to sort of wrap everything up. Now, when I read that, I assumed that was because, oh, they've finished the season, they've maybe left some threads open, so they'll give it a movie to close things off. However, then it turns out, no, there's still 12 episodes left to air next spring, and this 2-hour thing will just be the end of that. And I'm like, okay, so it's a 2-hour finale then at the end of the season. That's not yeah. I thought the way it was been, the messaging here was a little bit murky, but I don't know if that just means that they commissioned 2 more episodes. Maybe it was going to be 10, and they've said no, we'll give it another 2 to give you the wrap up time. Which, just say that. It's easier.
Yeah. No, it is, but definitely.
Anyway.
Unless it's airing separately, it's just 2 more episodes.
Yes, it doesn't sound like it's going to air later. It just sounds like it's going to be the end of the season. But
I mean, they've got enough time.
So, no, if you're a fan of that show, it sounds like you're going to get an ending, which is is all you can ask for, really, more than anything.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, right?
Some premiere dates: Orange is the New Black season 6 is coming to Netflix on July 27th, so that's that week on Netflix.
I mean, that means there's a week there without a Netflix show for us.
That is good, because it makes us very busy. Showtime's new show, Kidding, starring Jim Carrey, is going to premiere on September 9th. That's the same night as the new season of Shameless as well, but also on Showtime.
I don't remember hearing about this one at all.
I've got a description, because I thought you'd forgotten it. So I thought,
did you remember it before you read into it?
I remembered it being called Kidding, that it starred Jim Carrey. I couldn't have told you what the plot was again.
Yeah. Okay.
But I remembered it existing. So Kidding centres on Jeff, aka Mr. Pickles, played by Carey, an icon of children's television and a beacon of kindness and wisdom to America's impressionable young. Sorry, impressionable young. I thought that was a full stop. It was a speck of dust on my on my monitor.
Oh god, the height of professionalism.
Impressible young maids and their parents who grew up with them. But when this beloved personality's I've got all the green squiggles because the grammar of this article apparently was not liked by Word when I copied it.
I like how you had to interrupt yourself half a sentence later just to defend it.
Well, because all the squiggles, it's annoying. But I don't want to go because you can't permanently remove the green squiggles from the article. Like, if I make any edits of any kind, it'll just pop back in.
Yeah.
So, Anyway, but when this beloved personality's family begins to implode, Jeff finds no fairy tale, fable, or puppet will guide him through this crisis, which advances faster than his means to cope. The result: a kind man in a cruel world faces a slow leak of sanity, as hilarious as it is heartbreaking. I'm sure it sounds hilarious. Jeff begins to push back against the limits of the well-oiled machine that is Mr. Pickles' puppet time, and of his executive producer Seb, played by Frank Langella. Seb fears Jeff's mental state could ruin the branding empire they've built, and thus begins preparing the show for a life after Jeff, while Deirdre, played by Catherine Kinnear, the head puppet maker, grapples with her own personal and professional life issues. I like how they slotted that in for another character at the end, just so we had the...
It's not alcoholic, but I'm drinking in spirit. I'll make up for it tomorrow, people.
There's nothing bad about that description.
There's not, but there's nothing that really grabs me either.
That's also true. I
think they're expecting Jim Carrey to be the draw rather than anything else in it.
I have no idea what the tone of this is. But I mean, it sounds like it'll probably be more of a dramedy than, you know, I have to imagine it's going to have more of a sort of quirkiness to it because it's Jim Carrey, but I'm just kind of assuming that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do say it's hilarious as well at one point. So it's got to have something to it, right?
I feel like when I read that sentence, though, I was getting hilarious more in a...
Oh, this is so bad, we have to laugh at it.
Yeah. I was getting a depressing hilarious...
No, I agree, but that can still be funny. In context.
Sure.
When it's intentional. I'm not saying just laugh at people's misery.
Next up, Kane Lonsdale is leaving as a regular from DC Legends of Tomorrow and The Flash, but he has assured everyone that he's not leaving the shows for good. He's just not going to be a regular anymore. He will pop back in and out in the future, but he's not going to be there. I mean, it's a shame. I like this more than when I thought he was just going back to The Flash, because The Flash kind of kept wasting him. So at least it's not just because he's going to get wasted again in The Flash. I liked him on Legends, so it's a shame to lose him, but he's going to pop back in and out.
It feels weird, given that the back half of the season for Legends, his arc was, okay, let's be a legend.
Yes, and he became a legend, and he even came back to The Flash and said, hey, I found who I was when I was with the Legends.
Yeah, it was weird. But I mean, it sounds like it was the actor's choice.
Yeah, it was very much the actor, his choice to want to do other things, so you can't really
I can respect that more than, you know, oh, well, we got no place for him, let's write him out. Yeah,
it's better than that. Yeah, if it's his choice, then that's fair enough. So that is that. Next up, the HBO pilot Euphoria has cast its lead. Zendaya has been cast in it. If you don't remember what this is, it's an adaptation of an Israeli series of the same name. It is described as a story of drugs, sex, identity, trauma, social media, love and friendship, all told by a lying, drug-addicted 17-year-old girl named Rue. Now, nothing there necessarily springs to, oh, this is going to be amazing. The one sort of thing I can see there is that they specifically tell me that she's lying. I can see maybe a fun, non-trustworthy narrator.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. I can see someone who's not a reliable narrator.
Yeah, she's pretty solid as an actress from what I've seen.
Yeah, she's good. She was a good Spider-Man.
Yeah. I
never saw that Hugh Jackman musical thingamajig.
No, but people liked it. I thought it looked atrocious, but mainly I thought the music was awful sounding. Don't get me wrong.
Did you know Win from Supergirl sung most of these songs?
Yeah, he does a lot of musicals.
Yeah, but he only did it in that one because Hugh Jackman broke his nose and wasn't allowed to sing.
Yeah. No, I know.
Bit of trivia for you, I don't know.
But he's very good at singing, so it's fine.
Well, of course he is. In fact, Hugh Jackman at one point said, no, I'm doing this number, and he actually split his nose open by singing during the number because he was determined to sing this one. Probably the grand finale, I imagine. But, you know. Hey. Next up, Freeform of ordering a show executive produced by Joss Whedon.
Yeah,
What's this? What's this, Joss Whedon?
It's a weird this is kind of his return to TV. I mean, I know he's not directly involved, but the last thing even on TV that had his name on it, even at this level, I think, was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? Mm-hmm. So, it's been a while.
But yeah, he's not actually that. I mean, he's the executive producer, but he's not the showrunner, he's not the writer. It's not his creation, he's just the executive producing it. It's called Pippa Smith, Grown-Up Detective. It's in development in Freeform. It comes from creators Siobhan Thompson and Rebecca Drysdale. The series is described as a dark comedy that follows Pippa Smith, a 20-something former kid sleuth, as she deals with relationships, addiction, and being too dang old for the detecting game. Which I think is funny because most detectives tend to be middle-aged, if not older.
Well, yeah, no, it's the classic, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah, but she's only like 25.
Yeah.
Each episode, Pippa solves a new case while unraveling a bigger mystery and attempting to navigate a messy personal life.
That counts.
That counts.
That's 2 for me tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds very case of the week. The fact that Whedon's got his name remotely attached to it does make it infinitely slightly more interesting than it was before. It's
the sort of thing where if this wasn't on Freeform, I'd probably be more inclined to say, the tone, I can see them playing with the tropes of her being, she's old, she's done all this in her past, and she's almost coming out of retirement
at 25.
Yeah, but that's the joke. So I can kind of see that being fun.
Yes, but Whedon's name attached, that means we're doing the pilot for sure.
I suppose.
I'm still going to have to sit through this double Siren pilot. Yeah, we can't do Cloak and Dagger, a show with actual good reviews, but Siren we're coming back to.
Yeah, but that has been promised for well over a year.
I hate you so much.
I know.
You had to open your big ginger mouth. Alright, so that's Pippa Smith, Grown Up Detective. It's in development. Not been ordered yet, that's worth mentioning, but it is in development. Next up, Seth Green and other people behind Robot Chicken have had a comedy pilot ordered to Hulu, an animated adult comedy. This is called Crossing Swords. When Patrick, a good-hearted young peasant with dreams of earning his knighthood and dispensing justice to evildoers, lands a coveted squire position at the royal castle, his dream job quickly turns into a nightmare. That was really long, there's a lot of commas in that sentence. In this kingdom, corruption starts at the top, and staying true to his lofty goals will be a thornier proposition than Patrick anticipated. It's all the sex, violence, and full frontal nudity you'd expect from a premium fantasy soap starring preschool toys.
I'm down.
I have never seen a single episode of Robot Chicken. I have no idea what to expect from this.
I've seen a bit. It's pretty fun.
Seth Green's cool. I like Seth Green, but
yeah, no, I'm into that style of comedy. This basically sounds like, hey, what if we do Game of Thrones but Robot Chicken?
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a Hulu's ordered a pilot for that. Next up. Apple's given a straight-to-series order. Apple are back in the game. More shows.
Yeah.
They've still not shown us an actual show yet, but they're just ordering more and more.
We haven't seen a trailer, a set photo, nothing.
We don't know what the service is called yet.
or you know, where it's going to be, you know, in terms of devices.
Yes. Apple has given a straight-to-series order to a half-hour dramedy called Little Voices. J.J. Abrams is producing, as is Sarah Bareilles, the pop singer, if I'm right.
No, not familiar.
She has that one song, I know.
It's helpful.
I know the video, it's the whole thing, it's like different people, is it called Brave? Seal Be Brave? Something like that. It's like all different people, like all these, like, you know, in the video it's like, you know, it's supposed to be random people on the street and stuff, or random people singing, obviously it's just all actors, but, you know, one's in a gym, one's in another. Say You'll Be Brave, it's about empowerment. I don't know, it's a thing. Anyway,
I don't watch many music videos, sorry.
Not do I, but I just... Somehow I stumble into this one. That's it.
It's a weird one for you to know.
I'm sure it's like 5 years old at this point. I guess this is not a recent thing.
Oh, that's fair enough. But, I mean, no idea what you're on about, sorry.
People know. People know in the comments. Tell Connor what I'm talking about. The series is described as a love letter to the diverse musicality of New York, which explores the universal journey of finding your authentic voice in your early 20s. Bareilles, host of the upcoming 22nd Annual Tony Awards, will provide original music. Apple's ordered a 10-episode first season.
So you're out?
Am I?
Well, it's going to be a bit of a musical sort of thing, isn't it?
I don't know if it's going to be a musical. It sounds more like people who are actually artists trying to make music, therefore it'll be them performing music in the story, which does not necessarily bother me. That's fine.
Alright, fair enough. Okay then. I mean, I assume that you'd not enjoy that much either.
No, it doesn't bother me. Everything that bothers me about a musical is it's the whimsy. This doesn't necessarily have to be whimsy. No,
it doesn't. It might be, though.
It could be, and maybe I'll hate it, but...
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I don't feel strongly about it. Like, you know, it's fine. If it looks good, then sure, we'll give it a shot. But
I don't really have much feeling on this one either, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of, you know, neither here nor there. It sounds like a thing that exists. I have nothing negative to say about it. Nothing particularly positive either. I mean, obviously I like J.J. Abrams, but I mean, this isn't exactly the sort of content that I flock to him for.
You know, you have to question how much is he really involved on something like this, right?
Well, of course, when it's revealed that it's part of the Cloverfield universe, then that's when things get interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's only a matter of time.
Alright, next.
I say that jokingly. It's only a matter of time till a TV show he's producing turns out to be.
That's fair. Next up, we have a pilot order for a Game of Thrones spin-off. This is one of 5 potential spin-offs. The other 4 are still in development. This is not like, this is the picked one. This is just, because there's a chance they'll all get pilots. I mean, they might get them all pilots and then decide once they've seen them. That's possible.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, we've ordered a pilot. There's no title for it yet. It's just, you know, it's one of the spin-offs. So it's
a prequel one, I believe.
It's a prequel, yeah. Pilot order to a prequel series from Jane Goldman. I do like Jane Goldman. She's co-written a bunch of Matthew Vaughn movies. Yeah. Also Jonathan Ross's wife, for anyone who's unfamiliar. Very bright red hair. Not ginger, like proper bright. Like she's made that bright red. So, yeah, taking place thousands of years before the events of Game of Thrones, Goldman's series chronicles the world's descent from the golden age of heroes into its darkest hour. The only one thing is for sure, from the horrifying secrets of Westeros history to the true origin of the White Walkers, the mysteries of the East, of the Starks, of legend, it's not the story we think we know.
Yeah. The only part of that I have a problem with that sounds, it's a prequel, right, is the White Walkers thing, because we kind of done that in the show. We're very heavily alluded to, and it feels like that's going to be part of the final season as well. To get the definitive answers based on what's been set up.
Obviously, as this is just an outside opinion, as someone who didn't like the show and dropped it near the start of season 2, and I know very little about what's going on. I've forgotten most of what I watched. It does sound like, I'd be annoyed about this because it just sounds like a prequel, setting up things. Honestly,
it's only that one part that does. The rest of it is so far removed that it could be just, it's a fantasy show, right? It's only that one thing that bothers me in terms of the connective tissue.
I think maybe my critique would be, I'm not sure what the hook is. In terms of, I feel like the last thing you want to do with a spin-off, and this is why I think Fear the Walking Dead is an atrocious spin-off of a show, regardless of the quality of it, which actually, from the first season that I watched most of, it was pretty bad. But regardless of the quality, to me, if you're just going to take the same thing, it's the exact same concept, with a bunch of different characters. To me, that's kind of like, because, the good spin-offs in the world, like Angel, hit television show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that spin-off. I didn't do it with Joss Whedon, I saved it for later, you can shut your mouth, Ginger. Right? Like, the whole idea was, okay, so one's the teen show, this is going to be the adults in Los Angeles, dealing with darker themes, right? Something like Frasier, so okay, we're going to take one character out the ensemble and make it more of a family thing with him. Fear the Walking Dead, it's like, there's zombies running around, we have to survive. It's the same show with different characters.
Here's the thing, I happen to agree with you on the concept, though, is you can get away with it if they're not running at the same time, because it's replacing it, right? So it's just like more of the thing you like. Whereas, Buffy and Angel, Walking Dead and Fear the One, they're running at the same time, so you've got to differentiate. Whereas if Walking Dead ended and then 2 years later we got Fear the Walking Dead, I don't think. All right, fine. But I think in concept that doesn't bother me as much, because it's like, well, you're filling the same slot on your schedule.
If it's replacing it, then at least 10 years later, and it's kind of like a reboot. It's like, okay, we're going to refresh it and bring it back. Then to me, it's not a spin-off. You're kind of refreshing the concept.
Yeah, see, I don't feel like that's the same. To me here, it's, okay, looking at like the TV schedule lineup, this is, okay, they've got their Walking Dead, right? And then they went, we want another Walking Dead. But they didn't wait till after, and I can see the logic for once Walking Dead ends, you want another one to replace it. You want something in that same slot. You want to keep that same audience for, you want that retention. But instead they went, let's just put it both on at the same time and keep them, year round, essentially, is what they tried to do. At least with this here, Game of Thrones will be over. So even if it is just, okay, it's a fantasy show in the same world in the past, and it's doing not necessarily the same beats, but in concept is the same.
I just feel like a spin-off for me needs what is the thing that makes this different from the main show, and therefore to me what the real purpose of doing it is, right? And if you don't have that, and this show might have that, I mean, they'll just be telling us yet, because obviously we're way early on, it's very vague.
Early,
I mean, this might have like a hook, this might have a thing that sets it apart, but at least right now it just sounds kind of vaguely the same kind of thing.
It really depends, when's this set, because they talk about, we'll hear some of the Starks of legend, and anyone who's watched the show can tell you a few off the top of their head of famous Starks of the past. It's like, okay, which ones are we focused on? Like, are we seeing the events that we've heard about from present day characters, their legacy, and seeing how the reality of it? And I think that in itself is a premise enough. But
sure, I mean, like I say, I don't really watch the show, so I can't. I have no opinion on that kind of thing.
Like for example, one of the past, Brandon the Builder built the wall, right? that keeps the walkers out.
Put a lot of thought into that name. Go on.
Oh, but no, that's the point. He got his name because that's what he did. So do we follow him? And we have building the wall wasn't this big feat that people thought it was. Whatever happened, it was different. Because they say, oh, it's not. That was the ending of the description there. It's not what you think it was. So it's seeing the reality versus the perception that our characters in the present of Game of Thrones have. And that could be interesting.
Yeah, sure. I don't care. I'm not going to watch it. It's fine. There's no point in me watching the spin-off. I haven't finished the original show. I haven't even made it halfway through the original show.
I think it depends because it is so far removed. There might be benefit to watching it. It might be so just standalone that it's just here's a show.
I feel like it has to feel different. If it just looks like it's another group of characters doing a very similar Game of Thrones thing, which is maybe what they'll do, but what may get greenlit is the one that feels the most like Game of Thrones. Or maybe I'll give some HBO some credit and say, no, they'll pick the one that has the really different feel to it. That's different for X reason. Either it's, maybe it's got one central character and it doesn't have like the big ensemble like Game of Thrones did, and that'll be its difference. It's like, no, this is going to be more of, this is going to be more of a heroic journey for one character, or hell, maybe it'll be more of a Breaking Bad for one character. Because this one said it was going to be the downfall of the heroic age. Then maybe it'll be this big tragedy of everything falling apart.
No, it could be. I think because that's the point. Game of Thrones, it starts in a pretty bad place, and it's trying to fix it at the end. It's getting worse as the show goes on, obviously, but that's storytelling. But this here, if it starts, we're at a pretty good place already, and then we go down. Oh, there's something there, and I don't know. I think to their credit, they could do. It's not definite that they'll only greenlight one. They could do two, where one of them is kind of still feeling like Game of Thrones, but one of them is something very different. They could have the cake and eat it too if they really wanted.
It wouldn't shock me if they greenlit two. I'm definitely not expecting more than two, though.
No, I'm not either, but I think two is feasible.
So yeah, if you're a Thrones fan, they've greenlit or they greenlit a pilot for one of them. Yeah. And we'll see if they greenlit any more. Next up, Apple has landed the rights to a project based in Gregory David Roberts' best-selling novel Shantaram. Now, I think we spoke about this when Anonymous Content grabbed the rights, but Apple have landed the distribution for it. Right. So this is where that'll go. It's going to develop for a straight-to-series consideration. Anonymous Content Permanent TV won it earlier this year. That's probably what we talked about. That's why I remember the name, because Shantaram is obviously a very specific word that I recognise from this. The book tells the story of Lynn, a man on the run from the Australian prison, looking to get lost in the teeming city of Bombay. Cut off from family and friends by distance and fate, he finds a new life in the slums, bars and underworld of India. The novel is thrilling and a profound exploration of love, forgiveness and courage on the long road to redemption. So,
no, it sounds okay, potentially good.
There's nothing that's grabbing me specifically, but this is one of these things where the style and the tone and...
Yeah, that's what I mean. It sounds potentially good, but I mean, I don't know. Could be boring.
Is this set in the past? Because they're calling it Bombay.
That's a good point.
Maybe set in the past.
I mean that would be an indication to me that it is, because obviously it's not that anymore.
Some people do still call it Bombay, although as I understand it, if you say that there, it's very controversial.
I would think so, because they don't like it there.
Yeah. But hey, so yeah, I would maybe imagine it's set in the past before the mid-90s, but I mean, just a guess. So next up, so the Underground Railroad is a show that Amazon are doing. Like, it ordered 11 episodes, season 1, or not even season 1, it's just a limited series. It's, all 11 episodes will be the whole thing. But Barry Jenkins, the director of Moonlight, has now committed to directing all 11 episodes. So
that's a big win for them.
That is a big one. That means this will be a stylish cinematic TV show. Based on a book by Colson Whitehead. So here's just a description of this. It's quite long, actually, but I'll go for it. Whitehead's book, which won both the Pulitzer Prize and National Book Award for fiction, follows Cora, a slave on a cotton plantation in Georgia. Life is hell for all the slaves, but especially for Cora. An outcast even among her fellow Africans, she is coming into womanhood where even greater pain awaits. When Caesar, a recent arrival from Virginia, tells her about the Underground Railroad, they decide to take a terrifying risk and escape. The Underground Railroad proves to be no mere metaphor. Engineers and conductors operate a network of tracks and tunnels constructed in secret beneath the very southern soil upon which they have been enslaved. Cora and Sarah's first stop is South Carolina, in a city that is initially seeming quite like a haven, but the city's placid surface masks an insidious scheme designed for its black denizens. Even worse, Ridgway, a relentless slave catcher of mythic origin, is close on their heels. Forced to flee again, Cora embarks on a harrowing flight, state by state, seeking true freedom in a heroine's journey carved through the soil and soul of America. No premiere date yet, but it's expected next year, expected 2019. So
sounds pretty good. Amazon really just throwing money at everything, right?
They really are, and it's a lot of different things. Because I think we've spoken in the past how they've got a lot of big sci-fi projects, especially now they've got The Expanse. But they've got a couple of big fantasy things, obviously Lord of the Rings being at the top of that list. And then they've got a lot of stuff like this. They've got this sort of like, let's do like a more sort of classy book adaptation.
Yeah.
No, and I think getting Barry Jenkins to do the whole thing is a big deal. I think that instantly gives us a bit of prestige. That's like, okay, this is,
Yeah, getting someone to commit to, probably 11 hours of directing. That's, quite a big steal. And, he can't come cheap after, coming off the high that he has had over the last couple of years.
And I have to wonder if that just means it's going to be an 11-hour movie cut into parts for your consumption.
Quite possibly.
I can see it. But hey, so that is coming in 2019, or at least it's expected to. It's the sort of thing I could see being delayed a little bit.
Yeah.
But at least right now the plan is for 2019. Do you like Dolly Parton?
Sure, why not?
Well, she's going to make a show with Netflix.
Bring it on.
She's working on an 8-episode anthology series for Netflix based on her music. Parton will serve as a singer and songwriter for the show, as well as executive producer and co-star.
Okay, she's all in on this then. This is definitely her thing.
I have no idea. Like, my assumption, since it's an anthology, is that each episode is like based on a song.
Yeah, that's what I'd do.
And they'll dramatize it, and then there'll be some music, and she'll be singing.
Yeah.
I have no interest in watching this.
Obviously, she's co-starring. It said there.
Yes.
Is it a straight up musical? Like, because obviously she's singing as well, or is it just she's singing for some background music as well as just acting? I
mean, since it's an anthology, like, is it more like she's never the main character, but she's always kind of pops up somehow, regardless.
As herself.
Possibly as herself, yeah.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know. I have no interest in watching it. Dolly Parton's music's not for me. I'm good. But
I'm intrigued in it. There's just a curiosity as to what this is.
But don't say Netflix aren't branching out into new content.
Hey, no, they're being versatile.
Next up, so Brad Weston's Make Ready company has grabbed the rights to Greg Hurwitz's best-selling novel series called Orphan X. Nothing to do with X-Men, as far as I'm aware. And they're going to develop it into a TV series. It's a thriller. Justin Lin's Perfect Storm Entertainment's also producing. Hurwitz is set to co-adapt the books. The series is often drawn comparisons to Bourne and the Jack Reacher franchises. It is a 5-book series right now. It started off in 2016 with Orphan X, then we had The Nowhere Man and Hellbent, and the next 2 books are coming out soon. The next one's Out of the Dark, The Return of Orphan X. So
I'm really glad you said that they were coming out soon, because I was like 5 books and it started in 2016. I was like, how quickly is he churning these things out?
Yeah, they're not all out yet. 3 of them are out.
I mean, that's more reasonable. That's one a year.
Yeah.
That's acceptable, but I was like, Jesus, how quickly is he going to get 5 out already?
Yeah. Basically, him and Stephen King should be phoning up George R. R. Martin and saying, hey, do you want some tips on how to get through your book in a reasonable time period? Yeah. Stop slacking, basically.
No, his name rings a bell. I feel like I've read some of his work in the past. I've not read this series. But the name definitely feels familiar to me.
Warner Brothers actually acquired it in 2015 before the first book even came out to possibly do movies, but the rights lapsed earlier this year, and that's when Make Ready swooped in. So Orphan X follows Evan Smoke, spelled as in Felicity Smoke, just for the for the record.
It's just what we needed.
Eversmoke, who after being pulled from his home at the age of 12, is trained in the Orphan program as a secret government assassin. After he escapes the program, he creates a new life for himself until he is forced to complete one last mission, saving the final orphan, as the same shadowy government forces that ran the Orphan program attempt to wipe out any shred of evidence that it ever existed. So he kind of comes back in to protect the sort of the younger orphans as a badass.
Okay. Sounds like a bit of a, thriller.
Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing where I could see this being really just generic and dull, but it's the sort of thing where, if it actually has, again, style, direction, if the action's good, if they kind of delve into, like, him, I could see the drama being there. Like, everything's there to make it into something.
It is. It's just whether or not it comes together at the end, isn't it?
Yeah. But, that sounds interesting. So, and then next up, in fact, finally, the final news story of the week.
Already?
Yeah, no, it's not a super long news week. We're still kind of in the drought post the upfronts. Orphan Black and Queer as Folk's Temple Street Productions has acquired the TV rights to Canadian author Kelly Armstrong's trio of Rockton mystery novels. They'll be adapted by showrunner Julie Puckrin, who worked on Killjoys, X Company, and Mauve. Armstrong is the best-selling author of over 30 novels, primarily falling into the fantasy category. Rockton series is a series of crime thrillers that includes City of the Lost, A Darkness Absolute, and This Fallen Prey, and they've all been published in the last 2 years. That's 3 in 2 years, so she's
yeah
knocking them out.
Those titles sound familiar. I think maybe my girlfriend has those books.
Rockton is a utopian commune that takes in those seeking refuge from their lives. Who you are and what brought you to Rockton defines how you see it. Everyone has a past. That's a fact. Everyone has a past. That is undeniable.
Yeah.
Homicide detective Casey Duncan takes refuge in Rockton to help her best friend escape a brutal ex-husband, but she also has something to hide. Before Casey was a cop, she killed a man. As she soon discovers, the town is in desperate need of a police detective because the supposedly safe paradise just had its first ever murder. So you get this cop with a dark past who's kind of falls into just being the cop in this utopia because they need a cop. And there's no one else there
makes
to do
sense.
it. There's potential here.
Yeah, it could be okay. Again, I'm really intrigued as to what the style of this looks like. I feel like it could feel really generic and just like a teen drama.
A teen drama?
Yeah, I can see it as that sort of look to it.
Okay, that was just a weird thing to jump to, is teen drama. Nothing about this was saying
I don't
teen
know,
to me.
For some reason, I don't know, just I don't know what it is. The way it feels, I can feel it. I can see the look of like a teen drama. I can see that applying to this.
It's the sort of thing where if I feel like if they make this colony, make that feel like that's a character in and of itself. If you give that the atmosphere of, okay, this is a place that's I don't want to quite say Twin Peaks, but the idea that it's meant to be perfect, but there's a dark underlining. Like if you sort of nail that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's going to be the key to the show, right? Or at least at the start of the show.
Well, at least to grab you at first. Then I think beyond that, you need the characters. The main character at least needs to be, grabbing your attention. Yeah. So, but no, this is interesting. So that's Rockton. So that's in development for TV now as well. So there you go. That's the news. That is the news this week, and that usually takes us on to picking our favourite episode of TV of the week. This week we had a Westworld, we had a Handmaid's Tale, we had a Legion, we had an Expanse. We did finish 3% season 2, but we don't usually count the Netflix shows because typically we're spreading those out over various weeks. But those are the options. Do you have? Is anything springing to mind? What are you feeling?
I think I'll be honest. It's between Westworld and Handmaid's Tale.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to give it Handmaid's Tale for surprising me and doing things that I didn't think was possible anymore on this show.
I think that's fair. I think Westworld was pretty solid this week. Expanse was pretty solid. Legion was definitely better than last week, because last week's Legion was a little bit of
it was a fun episode, Legion.
I have to agree, though, Handmaid's Tale did some things with a certain character that I didn't think they could do. I didn't think they could make me feel this way about this character.
I didn't think they could pull it off without it feeling cheap.
But it worked. The best thing about Handmaid's Tale is how how layered the characters are, how real they are, because they aren't just one thing, and that's it's fascinating stuff to see at play. So
it is definitely.
So Handmaid's Tale, yeah, I think wins. I mean, part of me was hoping to give the Expanse a three-peat, but it's fine. That's fine.
Hey, it's the fact that they got 2 against against Handmaid's Tale and Westworld at all is pretty good for it.
No, that's good. That's good. So that is this week's TV news. That wraps us up. So what I will do is I'll tell you what's coming in the next week. The Legion finale is next week. It is also worth mentioning that there will be a delay to our Westworld review. If you're someone who watches our Westworld reviews, the next one will not go up until sometime on Tuesday night. Connor's away for a couple of days, and because of that we can't get to Westworld until Tuesday. So apologies for that, but just so you know that it's coming a little bit later. I did warn everyone on the last Westworld review, but I'm making it very clear because I know people are going to ask. They're going to be like, "Where's the Westworld review?" Which is why I specifically said it at the start of the Westworld review last time. I was like, no. Some people will turn it off before I start doing all the plugs, so I'm saying it at the start before we even start talking about it.
That was nearly a week ago now, so here's your reminder closer to the time.
So yeah, so the Westworld review won't be until Tuesday. It shouldn't affect anything else in the week, but it will affect Westworld. And we should finish Dear White People Season 2. There's one episode that we've just recorded that will go up over the weekend, and then 9 and 10 will both be sort of in the second half of next week, and then that should be wrapping that up, which actually finishes all the Netflix content on the backlog for now, and we're free for new stuff to roll in.
Yeah, we don't actually have anything lined up next from them yet.
Yeah, not for a couple of weeks. Me and Matt will be doing Glow. That'll start at the end of the month, but there's nothing. June seems to be quiet in this front, which is kind of nice. It lets us just.
Yeah, June. So far we've not really got anything for July either.
Not yet. I'm expecting more though.
Yeah,
in July.
But so far.
So far. So
it's okay because it gives us time to do all the extra movies that we need to do because we missed all the time because of all the Netflix time we just spent doing.
Yeah. But hey, so. That is what's coming up in the next week. Oh, and that is business as usual. Everything's kind of the same as what it was. And yeah, we'll see for all that stuff. So let us know what you thought of the news this week in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's links in the description to go over there. See the bonus over there. The first ever almost cancelled extra, which will be like a topic that we talk about, that'll be coming sometime in the next couple of weeks, and then this month there's also 1.21 extra, which is the same thing but for a movie topic. So those are new additions. The first episodes of both of those are coming this month for patrons, but otherwise that's us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?